Working with bulk files can save you significant time when managing your Amazon campaigns. But when errors occur during upload, they can cause your changes to fail, leaving your campaign stuck or incomplete. Analyzing and resolving these errors quickly is the key to ensuring your campaigns run smoothly and your optimizations are applied efficiently. Amazon's provide details error reports when there is an issue with the bulk files uploaded. These reports point to specific rows and fields where errors occur, helping you identify and fix problems on the go. Common errors include invalid values, missing required fields, and mismatch IDs. While these issues can be frustrating, they are often simple to resolve if you know where to look for. In this video, I will walk you through the most common bulk file errors, explaining why they happen and show you how to use Amazon's error report to pinpoint the correct issues. By the end, you will have a clear process of troubleshooting bulk files uploads so you can keep your campaigns running smoothly without unnecessary delays. Let's dive into analyzing and fixing bulk file. So for that, let's go to Seller Central. Right here, once you upload the file, you can see this sort of summary report in which you can see how many rows you processed and how many rows were successfully processed. That means your changes went on the front end. For example, in this case, we processed 79 rows. We made changes to 79 entities, but only 21 of those went through. 58 of these were failed. This can be because of different reasons. We will deep dive this very shortly. But here, worst case, if you see here, we processed 82 rows. None of them went through. That means critical issue. For example, you changed the names of these campaigns, but because of these errors, none of your changes work. But interestingly, these are very simple to resolve. So firstly, let's dive into the Excel extract, how it looks like. For that, you will click download report here. For this purpose, I have already one opened up. So this is how it will look like. For example, at the top, you will see upload processing summary, note on error types, warnings. You can study these, and here you can see number of records processed are 79, 22 records successfully went to the front end, and 58 records didn't work because of errors. Here you can explore more on this document, but here I have already compiled different sort of errors from different uploads in this file. For example, this is one file we uploaded and it didn't went through, and then this is the second file. This is another one. So I have different sorts of errors here. But let's study first these. The original record here means what was the original row number of your previous bulk file when you uploaded the file. For example, you made 100 changes. So this was the change number 3 or row number 3 from your previous bulk file. Remember, this is not relevant to this bulk file like the error report, but the previous bulk file you just uploaded. And then moving type, what is the error type? Very important that this is an input entry and then invalid user input. We will go into error message very shortly, but let's cover the rest of the stuff. For example, in the sheet number 1, row number 2 to 36 have these warnings or not, because of which these are not processed. And then again, same goes for all these errors. For example, this one, row number 4 didn't went through because of an input error and the error code was invalid user input. Now let's study the error message. This is where you will be really knowing about why this entry didn't went through. For example, here negative keyword with campaign ID this, ad group ID this, keyword text keyword 1. For example, this would be any keyword, and then match type negative exact, name is equal to null, and then the last part already exists. So what does this mean? For example, it is just stating that you tried to negate a keyword at a campaign at an ad group level, but this keyword is already negated within the ad group, so you cannot add duplicate entries in the negation. So this error is because of that. Now let's study the second error. The second error is also same, but in this case the keyword is different, the campaign entity is different, the ad group ID is different. That means this keyword is already negated from your campaigns. Now moving into the other error types. So this is the most common error as well, or this is sort of not an error but warning. For example, this row was not processed due to errors from other rows. That means This can be anything. For example, you tried to create a campaign. When creating the campaign entity, you added something wrong. You maybe missed to add update or create in the campaign entity. But for the rest of the ad group, product ad, negative keywords, all that entries under that campaign, you added everything correctly. Because campaign entry was missing the relevant information, because of that, none of your ad group, product ad, negative targeting went through. So you have to fix that campaign entity, upload the file again, and this will be fixed. Now further moving, why this row was not processed. Here you can see row number 2 to 36 was not processed because of the invalid entity in row number 37 and 38. We will shortly see what those entities were. But firstly, then again, after 38, row number 39 to 52 were correctly entered. You do not need to change anything. But these were not processed because of invalid entity in row number 53. And then moving forward, row number 54 to 83 are again not processed because of some errors in 53, 37 and 38. Before we fix these, let's go into some other errors. For example, this error, ad group cannot have both keywords and product targets as a negative. This one is also very common. For example, if you are running a keyword targeted campaigns, maybe auto, phrase, broad, anything. So you cannot add a keyword and at the same time within the same ad group, you cannot add a product negative targeting. For example, you negated hot tubs from your campaign. You cannot add a negative keyword within that ad group because this will obviously not make sense because that is a campaign relevant to keywords and not targeting the essence. Now moving forward, here some missing parent IDs as well. Now, but before that, we will see this row number 9 to 13 are not processed. There are no errors within these rows, but these are not processed because of the missing value ad group ID in the row number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14 and 15. So once we fix all of these rows, then row number 9 to 13 will also went through. And then lastly, keyword is invalid. For example, if you are targeting a keyword, a very long keyword that is not eligible for advertising, then Amazon will show you this error, keyword is invalid. And then you can also see the sheet numbers, like where are the sheets, you can find all these errors. Now let's go to sheet 1 and how it looks like. This is now the sheet 1. This is where you will be fixing all those errors, and this is exactly the sheet you will be re-uploading. Now there are two ways to fix these errors. Number one is to just fix the entities here and re-upload it to Seller Central. Or number two is to investigate the original bulk file you uploaded, go to entity number 3 or maybe row number 3 and see what was the issue to that, resolve that issue and re-upload that sheet again to Seller Central. But for this example purpose, we will be uploading this sheet only. So sheet 1, here again I have these were different error types. I just merged here. For example, here let's go through first one. Here you can see all of those entities, everything, and then right at the end you can obviously see again the sheet, original record number, error type, the exactly same things we checked in the upload processing summary. Here let's resolve first error. Let's study it first. Input error, invalid user input, and again that this keyword already exists. For example, now here you can check your campaign, existing campaign. If you're already negating this keyword, you do not add to renegate it. So in this case, the resolution would be simply you will be deleting all these entities from the sheet and re-upload that to the Seller Central. But for example, you made some mistake in the keyword, or maybe you mistakenly added the wrong campaign ID here. So make sure to fix it. For example, if I want to negate it at this campaign, I mistakenly added the previous one, then I will add it here, the correct campaign ID, the correct ad group ID, or maybe you added the wrong keyword mistakenly. So that is all the solution you can go around. But for the moment, I'm sure that we are already negating, for example, keyword 1 from the existing campaign right here. So I will remove these entities from here. Let's remove all these. Now moving into the next part, that is our second error report. This row was not processed due to errors from other rows. So whatever this shows, for example, there is no error but a warning. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you will be just fixing the rows where this error is showing. For example, here in this case, let's study the first one. We are adding a negative keyword. We have added campaign ID. Everything is sorted. Still, this is not processed because of this invalid entity. Now let's see what this invalid entity is about. If you go into the start, you can see, have we added everything here? Let me check. No, we haven't added an entity under this field. So what was the entity? That is why Amazon is not able to process this change, because you haven't added the entity. To fix this error, you will simply add the negative keyword here. If this was a negative keyword, because this was a negative keyword, I will add it here. So, but whatever entity it is, maybe you missed the campaign, to add the campaign here. Maybe you missed the adding ad group here, whatever. Add it here. Then see if we have any other errors. This one, I have already fixed it. The rest of the error report is fine because we have just fixed 3 errors. Now, what I will be doing is, again, I will be keeping operations at create, and then I will upload this bulk file to Seller Central. Our errors will go away and your changes will go live on the front end. But let's check the rest of the errors. For example, here we are just checking that ad group cannot have both keywords and product ad targeting. Now let's see that what exactly we are trying to do here. We are adding a negative keyword again here. We have added it at a campaign ad group level. But if I study the campaign name, here you can see it is a product targeting campaign. How does a product targeting campaign can have a keyword negated from this? That is why Amazon is not processing your changes. So ideally, identify if you really missed the trick here. You really went for negating the negative keyword here instead of a product. So just fix that and this will go live. For example, I mistakenly added keyword here, whereas I wanted to negate the product targeting. So I will remove it. In the product targeting, I will add the product targeting expression. I will add the SN, exactly whatever the SN is, for example, this one. And then I will also change the negative keyword into negative product targeting. And once I upload this entity again, because this is now a product targeting, this will go live. But for example, I mistakenly added it, so you can also remove it right from here. Now let's study the different errors again. This one was not processed due to errors from other rows. For example, you can see which rows was causing that error right from here. So missing value for column ad group ID. So for example, let's see here what we were trying to do. Again, we were trying to negate a keyword at a ad group level, because in our last video we studied how negative keywords and campaign negative keywords work. So right here we want to negate it at a ad group level, but here we haven't added an ad group ID. Remember, whenever you are negating the keyword at an ad group level, you will be adding the ad group ID here. But since we haven't added that, Amazon is not processing our changes. How to fix it? Just simply add the relevant ad group IDs here. For example, I want to add this one as well here, and then what is the ad group ID for this one? I guess this would be same. And then you will find the ad group IDs for rest of the stuff and add those here. Upload the file again, and this will negate your keywords at a ad group level. Now coming into the last thing, that is a keyword is invalid. Again, we are trying to negate a keyword. I have a lot of negative keyword example because we do a lot of negative keywords. So all we found within this account was related to negative keywords. But here we can see invalid keyword error. So here you can see this keyword doesn't make sense. It starts with a hashtag, and then it has percentage, and it is very long. That is why Amazon is saying, no, you cannot negate this keyword from a campaign. So how to resolve it? You simply cannot add this keyword to your campaign. Maybe you want to process some changes. Maybe I will clear out hashtag nice pants for men's. I will simply negate this one if that makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, then you do not have to do anything. You just remove this entity, let your bug file work with the rest of the entities. Now we have seen how to study the errors here. When creating new campaigns, you can see a lot of errors related to maybe you missed the ad group ID, you missed the campaign name, you missed the invalid entity right here. But those errors more or less would be similar to these ones. I hope this makes sense, and now you know how to analyze and resolve errors in your bulk files using Amazon Error Report. By identifying issues like missing fields, invalid values, and duplicate entries, and correcting them in your file, you can ensure your updates are applied seamlessly and without delays. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss any upcoming videos. In our next video, we will be taking a deep dive into analyzing PPC data using bulk file reports. I will show you how to interpret key performing metrics like ACoS, ROAS, and a lot of different things to identify opportunities for campaign optimization and scaling. Do not miss it, and I will see you in the next episode.